Alright, so we're going to do quite a rapid tour of post-World War II to, yeah, roughly speaking, 1970, 1975, around about that area. And I want to do this quite quickly because I want to get onto the stuff that I know most about. So far in the class we've dealt with things in history that are not really my expertise. I'm not a historian, but I certainly have opinions about those things and studied them enough for us to discuss in the class. But what I really wanted to get to is the more modern technologies and the impact on society and then potential for the future. But before that, we kind of need to kind of go from historical to modern days by filling in that gap. You know, we talked about warfare in the bonus assignment, also the printing press. That's quite old. Transportation, you know, that brings us up into fairly modern times. But we haven't really talked about anything post World War II, apart from in warfare. So there's really three things I want to talk about. There's more, but we can't talk about everything in the class. The things I want to talk about that are pretty big technological advancements that impact that time period are film, cinema, television, and computing in its form post-World War II. Now, none of those things were invented after World War II, but there's a reason why I'm going to discuss them in those terms. For example, there had already been cinema in its early form, in the black and white and silent movie days. In itself was an enormous impact. I don't know if it was an enormous impact in society, but certainly an incredible advancement in its day. But you know, that alone, let's take cinema first. So cinema, I don't think is necessarily the most impactful, and I'm very happy for you to debate me on that one. But the reason why I'm going to say that is we already had theatre for a long, long time. So the idea of entertainment, theatre and music and that kind of thing have already existed for a long, long time. So that in itself is not new. So cinema really was a new medium for something that already existed. And that's this entertainment. I don't know if you've read Aristotle's works, but you know, he talked a lot about entertainment, and you know, kind of can trace back our modern form of entertainment back to those days. But that's how long the same forms of entertainment have been happening to various degrees, and before perhaps. We don't even know when that kind of form of entertainment. You know, kind of plays and drama and pretend when they first started, but we certainly know for a long, long time that they've had very theatrical dramas and plays and serious ones and comedy ones with all the music and with lots of direction and costumes and scenery. So moving that to film is just another medium for something that's already been going on. And of course, when you have a new medium, it opens up new ways of doing it, so you can have some different effects, and you're not restricted to the stage and so forth. So there certainly were some new things about that. But here's what I really want to kind of discuss when we talk about film. I think the big difference with film was that it just took entertainment and spread it. And so, not just entertainment, also they used film for news and updates, certainly during the World War II. That's how they broadcast news to the people, because they didn't have televisions yet in any kind of mass format. So it did change to be used for news and media, but primarily it was there for entertainment purposes. So in the past we had these theatres, and you could have small theatres in most towns, I would suppose. But I suspect that most of the poor people, the common people, had little access to it. But then again, I mean, they had storytellers that would come round, and you know, they had entertainment. Entertainment is not a new thing post World War II or when they invented the cinema. But I think what happened is I don't think that the common people often went to the expensive operas and theatres and music that was in the main cities, because it was just too expensive, and it was going to oftentimes be for the wealthy and for the upper class or upper middle class. So with the invention of the cinema and the film, I think the big change was it spread entertainment. You could add effects, and you could film things you couldn't do when you just had a stage. And in addition to that, you could spread it to anywhere where they could show the film, and it was and the ability to watch it became a lot more accessible because it was a cheaper format. So my theory on that is that it spread the availability of good quality entertainment, or if you want to call it that, you know, what had previously been the theatre to film that could be in cinemas wherever they could show a film. And in those days, you didn't need an actual cinema. I mean, it was they could take the projectors to different places and show them in a village hall or something like that. So I think it did make it very accessible and spread much differently to theatre. So we had theatre and entertainment, but not spread to the masses like it could now be with film. And then it became such a big industry because it did generate income from the masses that the rest is history with the development of Hollywood and the constant development of techniques in film and entertainment that have just been ever since. But it's still in its raw format the same thing. It's entertainment, it's theatre, it's drama, and it's been going on for years. I mean, Shakespeare was very good at it, and you had those theatres that played Shakespearean plays back in the day. Well, now you have cinemas that place very similar types of entertainment, and so I'm just saying that I think that the big difference was it spread it out to the masses. Now, did that have a big social impact? I'm not sure, and I'm really interested in your opinions on that. I'm not quite sure what the social impact is of spreading entertainment throughout the masses, because I'm thinking they already had their own forms of entertainment, storytelling, telling stories around fires, having storytellers that went round from village to village, local plays in the smaller and poorer places, and then bigger ones in the bigger towns, and then the more expensive ones in the big theatres in the cities. So, did it really change anything at all? I don't know. But I do still like going to the cinema, and so but I think that we've always needed entertainment to escape a little bit from reality, or and again, that's different in different cultures, by the way. I only know a little bit about the difference between American style and French style films and literature. So in America, the style has been that the Hollywood Disney style has been a happily ever after ending, where you everything is worked out, and I don't know what psychological factor that's supposed to have, but I kind of like it. I like the idea of things working out in a movie so that everything's resolved and you can feel good about it. Well, I can tell you that's not how it goes in some other places in the world. In France, for example, the books I've read, the French books, I did my bachelor's degree in French and did a lot of literature, kind of really disappointed me, because in French books and in French movies, it could be that the main characters die at the end, and it's not necessarily everyone lives happy after, but it's more of a kind of a shocking reality to make you think. So there is different formats and psychologies behind how storytelling happens in different cultures, and that just got transformed into cinema. So I'm really open to the idea of how did that affect society. So I'm not going to go much into any more details, but if somebody wants to pick that as a topic in this module, I think that would be very interesting to dissect. So that's cinema. Let's move on to computers.